tearing is something us expecting mamas definitely want to avoid as much as possible because tearing is not fun. So we are going to get into some tips on how to avoid tearing and reduce your risk of tearing during labor and birth. And if you are new here, I'm Naomi. I'm a mama myself and a lover of all things natural birth, pregnancy, and motherhood. And I birthed my baby completely natural, no medication and no epidural, and it was honestly so beautiful. And I'm here to help you mamas have a beautiful birth experience yourself. And that's why I created my birth prep program. You can find the link in the description box. It's designed to help you go into your birth with confidence and feeling empowered, because the cause of most birth trauma and negative birth experiences is because women don't have the proper education or information going into birth. And so that's how I designed my program, is to give you the information that you need and the education that you need around birth, what's happening with your body, what goes on during labor and delivery, how to handle it, and also what happens after, so that you can go in with that information with more confidence and less fear. So if you haven't already, make sure you check that out. The link is in my description box below. So let's go ahead and get into these tips on reducing tearing during labor. We are going to start out with an example using this rubber band. But before we do that, we want to understand first why perineal tearing happens in the first place. And there's a lot of different reasons that it can happen. And just to name a few, one is if this is your first baby. So us first time expecting mamas can have an increased chance of tearing because our birth canal has never had a baby in it and has never had to stretch out the amount that it has to during labor and childbirth. So that's something that can cause the risk, can cause tearing and increase our risk for tearing. And another is that if your baby is large, and that can cause you to have an increased chance of tearing. And then another is the positioning of your baby. So depending on the position of your baby, and if they are in a less than ideal position, then this can also increase your risk of tearing. So those are just a few of the different reasons why tearing can happen. And now we're going to get into these tips. So the first is going to be slow and controlled breathing. And the reason why this matters, I'm going to show you with this rubber band. So whenever we are slow and controlled breathing, it allows our muscles to slowly stretch and also relax, because if we are holding our breath or bearing down really hard, it puts a lot of pressure on our perineal area. And if you don't know what the perineal area is, so the perineum itself is the area between your vagina and your rectum, and this area is what gets the most pressure whenever you are pushing your baby down and out. So this is your birth canal opening. When we are focusing on slow and controlled breathing, it allows our opening to gradually stretch. Versus if we are holding our breath or trying to push too hard, then it's going to give a lot of blunt force to this and cause tearing. So again, when we're focusing on slow and controlled breathing, we're allowing it to stretch at its own will and allowing these muscles to really just do their thing. Because again, if we're putting a lot of pressure and just really trying to force our baby out, not breathing at all, or pushing too hard and bearing down and just, then we're going to put too much force on this. So focus on slow and controlled breathing. And the second to this is slow and controlled pushing as well. So we can try to force our baby out and force push, but again, that puts too much pressure on this area. So when we are focusing, when it comes to the pushing stage and we're focusing on slow and controlled pushing, again, it allows these muscles to slowly stretch. And that's what we want, a slow stretch, not a fast stretch. Because if we are bearing down and pushing too hard or pushing too fast, then that really makes us tear, and that's going to stretch these muscles too much and cause them to tear, hence this rubber band breaking, because we stretched it too hard and stretched it too fast. It doesn't mean that there isn't stretch or elasticity in our birth canal opening or in this rubber band as the example, because there is, the stretch is there. We just have to slowly do it so that it slowly opens versus putting too much force and tearing. So that is the first tip. And the next that we're going to get into is perineal massage. And a perineal massage is going to be a massage of your perineal area, hence the name of perineal massage. And so a way that you can do this is using your favorite oil, inserting your thumbs into your vagina and pushing backwards to stretch out that perineal area. So stretching backwards, like kind of back towards your rectal area, and really stretching those muscles out and that area out is going to help give some stretch and allow way for your baby to come through. And especially if you're a first time mama, then this is going to help a lot, because again, your birth canal has never had a baby come out of it before. And so just allowing your muscles to stretch out will help a lot. If you do not feel comfortable doing this yourself, or if you just simply cannot reach down there because your bump is in the way, then this is something that your partner can help you with, or they actually have perineal massage tools that you can purchase that are specifically for perineal massage. And so that can definitely help you if it's something that you want to do yourself, but you just cannot reach down there because your bump is in the way. So there's definitely a lot of videos and information that you can find online about how to do this further. And then looking up the tools, I'm sure you can find it like on Amazon or something like that to help you with this. And the next tip to help reduce the risk of tearing is going to be your birthing positions. A birthing position that really helps reduce the risk of tearing is going to be upright position. So whether you are upright on the dilation station, which is the toilet, yes, women have birthed their babies on toilets, which is honestly so amazing to think about. But on the dilation station, so the toilet is an upright position, on a birthing stool is an upright position, standing is an upright position. All these upright positions are going to help gravity work in your favor. And allowing gravity to work in your favor means that you don't have to do as much work as far as forcefully pushing, going back to our previous example and with this rubber band that is now broken. But allowing gravity to work in your favor allows you to not have to work as hard, and to those contractions as they are pushing your baby down and out allows your baby to gradually descend versus having to force them out, which is going to cause you to tear. Another position that will help reduce the risk of tearing is a sideline position. This takes a lot of pressure off your perineum area and will allow you to focus on slow and controlled breathing and allow those muscles to gradually stretch and reduce the risk of tearing. And a sideline position, you can do this on the bed, which will probably be the most comfortable for you during labor. So just laying on your side, having your leg propped up and over, and just slowly pushing your baby out. And that's actually a really effective birthing position in general, not just to reduce tearing, but just to help progress your labor and help push your baby out. That's actually a really good position to do that anyway. So both these positions will definitely help reduce the risk of tearing during labor. So just wrapping up and recapping: 1, focus on slow and controlled pushing, focus on slow and controlled breathing, perineal massage, and also your birthing position. So all these are going to help you reduce tearing. At the end of the day, if tearing happens, then mama, that does not mean that you did anything wrong. Sometimes there are a lot of things that happen in birth that are just completely out of our control. So if it happens to you, that doesn't mean that you did anything wrong whatsoever. It can happen to any of us, because sometimes birth throws us some beautiful, sweet surprises. So again, if it happens to you, don't feel discouraged, because it can happen. And these tips are really things that we can do to help avoid it as much as possible. Again, if it's going to happen, it's going to happen. But we just want to do all we can do to reduce those risks as much as possible. So if you are not already, make sure you subscribe. Again, make sure that you check out the link in my description box to help you have a more empowered birth. My birth prep program link is down there for you. And again, this is really just to help you you go into your birth more empowered and more confident so that you have the best experience possible, because there's too much traumatic birth experiences out here, too many negative birth stories, and we need more positive birth stories in this world. And you and your baby deserve to have a beautiful birth, free of trauma and free of fear. So check out the link in my description box for my birth prep program. So I wish you the best on your pregnancy journey and your upcoming labor and delivery.